Welcome to the Build Your Reiki Business podcast. I'm Christian of Standing Stones Healing, founder of the Reiki Business Collective and creator of the Build Your Reiki Business program, sending blessings and best wishes to your Reiki business. Greetings, welcome, and thanks so much for tuning in to this week's episode of the Build Your Reiki Business podcast. It's Christian, founder of the Reiki Business Collective and author of the Reiki Business Ready book, and as always, grateful to have you here. So thank you so very much. In this week's episode, we're talking about mobile Reiki. I'm sharing with you the pros and cons of a mobile Reiki business, the benefits and drawbacks, and I'm sharing with you my 3 top tips for a mobile Reiki practice. So first, what is mobile Reiki? What exactly is this? Well, this is when we travel. So we are mobile. The practitioner is doing the traveling rather than the client traveling to us. And so we may be traveling in our mobile Reiki practice to homes or nursing homes or hospitals. The idea here is that we don't have a fixed location. So we don't have an office setting as our fixed location where people come to us, or we don't have a room in our home as a fixed location where people are coming to us. And so this is the kind of setup in a Reiki business where we are traveling to the client rather than the client traveling to us. Now, I have a mobile Reiki practice as part of my Reiki business. So I do mobile Reiki as part of my Reiki business. Although I will say in the last couple of years, I've been really cutting back on that aspect of my Reiki business. I'll talk about why in a little bit, but a mobile Reiki practice can be really great for your Reiki business. One of the big benefits of having a mobile Reiki practice is that there's no rent. You do not have to pay rent. Now, as Reiki practitioners, we know that rent can be depending upon our Reiki business model, but if we have that standard, typical rented office setting scenario where we're seeing clients for sessions kind of business model, we know that rent is the biggest expense. We also know that rent can really cut into our profit very steeply. And for many Reiki practitioners, it is an ongoing battle to have enough income from their sessions to cover the rent of the space. And of course, rents continue to rise. So rents are not going to go down. Like the expense of most things in life, it's just going to go up and it's not going to go down. So paying rent is a real challenge for Reiki business owners. And when we can get around paying rent, that can often be a positive thing. And one way to get around paying rent is to travel for your Reiki sessions. So no rent is, I believe, the number one benefit of a mobile Reiki business and the number one reason to have a mobile Reiki business. Number 2 benefit of having a mobile Reiki business is that it is convenient for the client. It's so convenient for the client for us to be traveling to them. Now, you may be seeing clients with a mobile Reiki business in their home, And of course, this is the ultimate convenience for the client. You mean they don't have to go anywhere? Yes, indeed. Clients are going to really appreciate that, especially when they don't want to travel. They don't want to worry about getting to a space. They don't want to worry about parking or any of the other challenges that come along with just getting out of your house and getting out into the world. This is also really great for clients who have mobility issues, for clients who are elderly, shut in, unable to get out, or who have transportation challenges. And so having a mobile Reiki practice can really help us to reach more people than who otherwise might not be able to get out to an office setting. And in that way, we make Reiki more accessible. If you're going to nursing homes or hospitals, for instance, these are people who otherwise might not be able to experience Reiki. And so we can really make Reiki more accessible by having a mobile Reiki practice, which indeed is a beautiful thing. And a third benefit of having a mobile Reiki business is the flexibility. When we don't have to worry about having an office space at a specific time. So let's say that you are renting an office every Monday and you aren't able to have the office space any other day, or you don't want it any other day. You only want it one day a week. The one day you can get it is Monday. That means that you need to be scheduling your sessions on Mondays. And you don't have the flexibility to see someone on a different day. Or let's say that you want to take a vacation on a Monday, but oh no, you want to see clients, they want to book, and you can only do Mondays. Plus, you've got to worry about paying the rent. And so, oh no, if you don't see clients, you can't pay rent. So even though you want to take Monday off, you need to see the clients. Now, for as many benefits as there are to having a mobile Reiki business, and for as many reasons why it's great to have one, there are also, of course, cons and drawbacks and reasons to not have a mobile Reiki business. And one of the big ones is the travel. So traveling can and does take up a lot of effort. The traveling to the clients is time consuming, and it has a lot of wear and tear on your own personal vehicle. Now, when it comes to a mobile Reiki practice in the travel aspect, I do recommend charging to cover travel, whether that's to charge to cover your full travel time, so having a set amount that covers your travel time, increasing your session cost for that, or charging per mile or whatever. I do encourage charging more in order to cover your own travel costs and time. Now, in my mobile Reiki practice, I do add on an additional charge for the travel. I don't designate this as separate from the session itself. I just roll it all into one. You could, however, have an additional charge that you are parsing out for the client so that they can see the difference in the price that they might pay if they were to come to you versus the price that they're paying for the convenience of you going to them. You know, convenience has a cost. Convenience has a cost. And so when we are making something more convenient for the client by traveling to them, that's adding time, money, energy and effort to us, it's absolutely okay to pass some of that cost on to the client, because we're doing the hard work of packing up and going to them. So one of my tips for having a mobile Reiki practice is to charge for your extra added time and effort. Along with that travel challenge is the lugging around of your stuff, your table, your tools of the trade, whatever it is that you might use in a session. For me, with my mobile Reiki sessions, oftentimes they are chair sessions. They are conducted in the client's favorite chair. And so I encourage them to have a favorite chair they like to sit in, something that helps them feel really comfortable and relaxed. You know, maybe they're lazy boy with their feet up or whatever. But oftentimes the client is happy to do that because it's very comfortable and familiar to them. It's very familiar, and people like familiarity. We like what's familiar as human beings. And so telling a client that they can just get comfortable in their favorite chair they don't mind that. As a matter of fact, you know, if they're hanging out in their lazy boy watching TV and you come to the door, they click off the TV and there they are in their chair, they're ready to go. But the travel aspect in a mobile Reiki business can be a drag. And this is the number one reason why I started scaling back on my mobile Reiki business, because the traveling took up time. You know, for me to have a mobile Reiki session, I would need to block off a lot of extra time for it, for the travel to and from. And that meant that I could only maybe have one session in the morning and one in the afternoon. Of course, scheduling in time for me to come back home, eat lunch, feed my cats, do whatever I needed to do. Along with that is the weather aspect and worrying about going out in all kinds of weather, traveling in weather. Of course, we can cancel. We have that ability, but not everyone likes to drive in all kinds of weather. And of course, our own personal vehicle is taking on the wear and the tear of driving to and fro to our clients. So travel is, I believe, one of the biggest drawbacks of a mobile Reiki business. A second drawback of a mobile Reiki business is that we can't control the environment. And so in an office setting, when it's our office that people are coming into, or when it's our home that people are coming into, we can control the environment. When we have a set fixed location that we are operating out of, we have control over that environment. So we can set the tone in a much more powerful way than we can if we are moving from location to location. When we have a fixed location, we can leave our stuff out. You know, our salt lamp, our singing bowls, our candles. We can leave all of those things sitting out. We don't have to pack them up. We don't have to carry them with us. And they're there ready for each and every session. But when we have a mobile Reiki practice, we either have to set up everything every time, carry it all around with us, or we just don't take it. We also can't control what's in the environment itself. So we can't control if there are barking dogs. We can't control if there's someone else in the house at the same time. And many Reiki practitioners will say we can't control the energy. We aren't able to clear and cleanse a space like we might like to in someone else's home. Now, I take a very simplified approach to this. I personally do not sage and cleanse between every client. Oh, yes, I said that. At least not in, the way that many practitioners do. I'll ring my ting sha and drum my drum, and that does it for me. And that does it in my mobile Reiki sessions as well. So we don't have to be really elaborate in the cleansing of a space in order to set sacred space for a session. And I believe a third con to having a mobile Reiki business is the safety aspect. We are going into unfamiliar spaces. We are going into maybe someone else's space. Now, if we're going into nursing homes or hospitals, this is not so much of a concern, right? But it is if we are going into someone's home. And that has the potential for some safety concerns for us. So, given all of those pros and cons of a mobile Reiki business, I have 3 tips for your mobile Reiki practice if you want one in your Reiki business. Tip number 1, as far as that safety aspect, I encourage you to always let someone know where you are going. So make sure that you have it on your calendar, the location, the address, the client's information, their name, their phone number, whatever information you collect, have all of that on your calendar and have someone who has access to that, or at least you are telling someone where you're going, when you're going to be there, how long the session is going to last, and when you can expect to be back home. So if you have a friend, if you have a partner, a parent, just letting them know, hey, I have a mobile Reiki session today. This is the address where I'm going. This is the phone number. This is the person's name. This is the time of the session. This is when I expect to be home. And having someone who knows where you are going, and also not being afraid to let the client know that when you have mobile sessions, there is someone who is aware of where you are and when the session is expected to end. So along with that safety aspect of going into people's homes, just always have someone when you have a mobile Reiki business who knows where you're going and when your session is taking place. Number 2, along with that and this idea of controlling the environment and also the idea of travel, you can be choosy. You can be choosy about your mobile Reiki clients. And so if you don't like smoking, or if you don't like dogs, you have the ability to choose whether or not you go into those environments. For my mobile Reiki practice, I have it built into my terms that the client agrees upon booking that it is a non-smoking home. And that if I come into the home and I find out that, no, actually it is a smoking home, I have the right to leave without refund. I've never had to use this clause, but I have it there for myself because I can't stand smoking. I'm very sensitive to cigarette smoke. I can't stand it, and I can't stand being in a smoking home. Well, if the home is smoking, we all need to get out. So yes, I can't stand to be in a smoking home, but I know you know what I mean here. So if you're afraid of dogs, it's okay to decline to see someone in a home that has dogs, or even if you're allergic to cats, you're allowed to say no to those spaces. You are allowed to be choosy. Another way that I'm choosy in my mobile Reiki practice is that I only see clients within a 30-mile or 30-minute radius of me. So I'll drive 30 miles or 30 minutes. And if I am asked to go beyond that radius, I'll either say no, depending upon my schedule and what's going on, or I'll add an additional charge. But I also recommend, when it comes to this being choosy, that you may want to start off in your mobile Reiki business seeing friends and friends of friends. So people you know and clients who have connections with people you know. This also is really helpful in terms of the safety aspect, so you're not going into complete strangers' homes. And number 3, I encourage you to catalog all mileage, because your mileage in your Reiki business for your mobile sessions is something that you can deduct on your taxes for your US-based Reiki business, and therefore the amount of tax you pay. So keep track of all mileage and have proof of your mileage in the form of those booked sessions and the payments, the locations, and all of that. For more on having a mobile Reiki practice, check out the Reiki Office Hacks article in the free Reiki Biz Kit at standingstoneshealing.com/Reiki Biz Kit. So, do you have a mobile Reiki practice? What are your recommendations for your mobile Reiki business? Please join us in the Reiki Business Collective Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Reiki Biz and tell us all about it. Sending lots of blessings and best wishes to your Reiki business. Thanks for tuning in to the Build Your Reiki Business podcast. Please like, share, subscribe, and send to a friend. Learn more about the Build Your Reiki Business program at standingstoneshealing.com/build, sending blessings and best wishes to your Reiki business.